Good morning, fishing individuals of the Arizona and Phoenix metro area. I this morning picked up my rod build from Brent Legrady. By now you're used to me talking about Ron Weber's rods, which, you know, I still have all the ones that I still have that he's made. I still have to go back and pick up the one he repaired for me. But gas has been what it is. I have had a real hard time wanting to drive all over hell and back. I've been trying to save mileage and gas. So I've got to get out there pretty soon now, because I don't want him to get to the point where he's just really aggravated that I have not stopped buying on the rod. I will most likely have other rods built by him in the future. But at this point, right now, I have started with Brent. Now, on this rod, I had a 9-foot, 4-piece, 5-weight fly blink in kind of a topaz blue color, and acquired that along with a second blink and a 6-weight and a bunch of fly tying stuff from my friend Kirk, who was no longer using these things, and had a cork reamer that I gave to Brent along with another piece of equipment that he could use. So somebody's able to get use out of it. I don't have the space to be able to use such things where I'm living now. And I had very clear direction on what I wanted. Bought all the bits myself besides the blink. I got Airline Airwave guides, which are integral aluminum guides. They're not the ones with the press-in rings. They're very, very light. Had a drop shot style hook holder and 11-inch cork piece with the flared ends, and another 3-inch section that Brent shaped, and I had slide rings as well. So what I ended up with is a essentially 7.5 foot or so usable rod length in a medium light in bass terms type action. Now, it has very specific type of parameters. It is not a rod that is meant to be used outside of a certain purveyance of technique. I very rarely would want to go over 1/8 of an ounce on weights with this, whether it's drop shot or Ned. I primarily have it for wacky, drop shot, and Ned. The one thing outside of that scope that would work very good with it is I use the same size hook, same rig basically that I use for wacky rig for breading for carp. And that rod is a moderate parabolic front and a very strong backbone in the back section. It is purposely, with the reel I have on it, out of balance for me to do the balancing. Now what this does is it makes it very easy to feel everything that's going on with the bait, everything that's going on with a fish if it bites. It is not a comfortable rod. It is a comfortable rod, but it's not. And the reason I have the longer cork grip is to get along my forearm when I'm fighting a fish, letting the drag my forearm and the rod bin handle bigger fish. It is a fairly light rod, but because of its length and it being weight forward when a bait is on it, it is a strain enough that it's not an all-day rod. So what I used it for today, is I knew what I was targeting. I knew how I was targeting. You feel everything with this rod, from the hits to the bottom. I mean, when I started, I was bumping a Ned, and I felt every single thing it was doing on the bottom. So if I throw a drop shot, I'm not going to go beyond a 1/8 weight. And, you know, not even a 3/16 or a quarter is not going to be something I throw on it, just because it's got a flexy moderate tip to it. But the other thing that it helps with is imparting action on baits like a wacky rig. I can throw any of the crappie stuff on it to the heavier crappie size, 1/8 of an ounce jigs. I can throw slip bobbers on it if I want, and it will work very well for those things. So while there are limitations, there are ways that I can use it that make it a very adaptable rod in some ways. And I knew all these things going in, because when I got my super ultralight made by Ron, it was essentially a two-piece 7/6, I think a 2 or 3 weight flight blank that I had made into the same like Tennessee handle type micro guide rod. So I knew the capabilities and the limitations and the way that they feel. It's not a rod that you're going to be able to hold every day, because you are not going to be able to do a 2 and 2 finger grip. It has to be a 3 forward and 1 back to balance it out, and you're going to have your thumb out front of the reel, and you're going to have your index finger on the side of the rod. So there is a very compartmentalized, in some ways, way that rod is handled, and that's why I got it built, because I knew that going in. So what I will do with it is, if I'm on the shoreline, if I'm on a boat, wherever I'm at, if I know what they're hitting and I want to have more of a velvet sledgehammer, so to speak, I will pull it out, because it is so good at casting massive distances with little effort and feeling everything. The only thing I don't like is not the rod, it's with the line. So I stepped down from 10 pound and 6 fluoro to 6 pound braid to 6 fluoro. If there's enough wind, it has a tendency to bow pretty bad in the wind. That's something else that I understand, because I throw a 2 pound line on my other flight blank based spinning rod. So again, it's a dynamic, I know. The other thing that has changed is that the propensity for suspending and or slow sinking baits is that they will drop a little bit faster. But I'm okay with that, because the wackies that I'm throwing, I don't want them to sit on the top all the time. I want them to come through the water and start falling a little bit, because it is a type of bait that I'm going to do a stop motion and then twitch like hell and stop again. And because it's a moderate tip with a high amount of kickback when it pops back, it lends itself to being able to get those high-end motions out of a wacky and still keep it in the zone for a long time without pulling a lot of water between the rod and the bait. Like my main finesse rod is a 7'2" medium light North Fork blank that Ron made into a finesse. It is one of those things that if I twitch too much or I reel too much, it's like back in my way right then and there. So this one's a little more forgiving in some ways, but it's also much more precision when presenting a bait, by way of the fact that it has more leeway on how the action works. So I love it. I can't complain at all. It's a beautiful rod, man. The topaz blue with the burgundy threads, it's such a kick-ass rod, and he did a very good job putting it together. And like I said, I spent about $46 between all the materials that went into my part of pieces for the rod. The blank is around $85 in cost. With what he asked for making the rod, and with the reel, I'm right around $300 in the setup. Conversely, with my other finesse rod with the North Fork, between the attach of the reel that I have on it and the rod after Ron made it, it's around around $640, and it is a rod that I can hold all day long. But this one is not, just by the nature of the way it's made. But I know that, and that's why I had it made. I had it made on purpose, off balance, in balance, because I'm the one making the balance happen. And it's phenomenal. So Brent, dude, phenomenal job, man. It is such a badass rod, dude.